Hey, how you doing?
Hey, hi. I'm good, thanks. Whoa, that's a springy sofa.
How's your weekend been so far?
It's been really lovely. I love coming to these to see so many people wearing TED paraphernalia has been lovely. Seeing lots of Tartt shirts has been great. And it's a good excuse for me to wear my slippers for a weekend, so it's good.
Are you a cold weather guy?
Yeah, so much. About, I don't know what it is in Fahrenheit. I think it's about 68 degrees is probably my limit. I'm like, that's good. Anything over that, I'm just dripping in sweat. But yeah, but it's like, yeah.
How long have you been like getting to do these conventions? And did you ever attend before being part of any of your shows?
No, the first one that I went to was Chicago C2E2.
Yeah, that's a pretty big
one. And I immediately went, oh, this is incredible that these places exist, and immediately thought of my brother, who's a big nerd, and I was like, oh, I have to get him along to come and see one of these. And so I guess that was last year. Last year was my first one, and then I've done one in London since then, and yeah, I feel very lucky I feel it's so nice to, be at a place and have a bunch of people come up and be like, hey, the job that you did was great, and It really was. For the most part, I mean, there's always some, you can't please everybody, but yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. What were some of your fandoms growing up?
Oh, wow. Great question. Big into Starship Troopers.
Oh, that's fun.
Loved that. Ed, Ed, and Eddie, which, maybe is slightly more. What was some fandoms? Does Recess count? I feel like that's, yeah, that was great. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. And I know, like, from what I've seen before being part of Ted Lasso, you're also a fan of football as well, or I guess we call it
Thank
soccer.
you.
I'm trying to...
We call it football.
Yeah,
That's
football.
good.
It's
Correct.
football, right?
Yeah.
It's football. What's your team that you root for?
AFC Wimbledon, which is a very small team that nobody really knows. But, oh, great. Well, Well, that's good. Yeah. It's some nodding and yeah. I support them, and they are, for the most part, they play with a lot of heart. I think you can say they're not always winning, but that's okay. That's okay.
Of course. So before, and first of all, congratulations on the huge success of Ted Lasso. It is just like such a fun watch. Did you pull any inspiration from any maybe members from that particular football team or any footballers in general?
Not that one in particular. Well, I mean, all football. It's an amazing thing that it's both extraordinary, but also makes a lot of sense that there isn't a huge amount of I'm going to use the word soccer series, because a lot of the sort of world, the culture of soccer players is so strange. It's like almost like a modern day Gladiator in a sense, where they are thrust in front of tens of thousands of people, all cheering and screaming their name, and they're like some of them are like 17, 18 years old. You can think what that does to somebody's brain chemistry is mad. And so obviously they're like larger than life people, very exuberant, some of them, and so to have these characters, all of these people in and amongst each other, is a real juicy bit of drama to be had. But it's really hard to do also because you can't really pastiche them. They are already kind of mad things anyway. So I think they did a really good job. The writers did an incredibly good job of harnessing that sort of I say weirdness, but like sort of outside of the normness of them from other sort of celebrity or whatever. And so there are a few. I mean, there was a few footballers who you just sort of take in through osmosis of watching football over the years. But yeah, there's obviously that Jack Grealish is one, and you've got Cristiano Ronaldo, and like Paulo Dybala and Eric Cantona, a lot of that through the years. Yeah. So yeah, there were. Yeah, you sort of. He's an amalgam. Jamie Tartt's an amalgam of many of those players.
And obviously, your character had quite the evolution from start to finish. I mean, like so many like ebbs and flows of the character. Yeah, I like the one woo. Thank you for that. What was your favorite part about getting to play Jamie?
Thanks, mate. I think the thing that I really sort of appreciated was that Jamie didn't change how he did things. He just made different choices. That doesn't really make sense. I think that him as a person didn't really change, but he made better choices. And so I think what I mean by that is I loved they did it a really smart way, the writers did it in a really smart way that meant that us as an audience didn't go, well, I just don't believe that. I don't believe that this person that we've spent over the last 2 seasons knowing he's an asshole and he's like a prick, he's like the showboat diva guy. So why would he be nice to somebody? And he wasn't just like altruistic suddenly, but he was making choices which he had been taught by Keeley and by Ted and by Sam, the players around him, which I think was a really great way of showing that he'd been listening, and so it didn't just come out of nowhere. I think the thing that I always loved and was said of the show a few times was that these things, the decisions these characters made, never really happened in a vacuum. It was because of something. It was a response to an action, which I think is very satisfying for an audience to see. So I liked that it made sense. It wasn't just like plucked it out of nowhere for Jamie.
For sure. So before we get to questions from y'all, just to pivot ever so slightly, I just saw you were in a recent production of Oklahoma.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So were you always a theater kid, and is there a dream role?
I was theatre. The tradition in the UK, I suppose, is far more theatre based. I wasn't musical theatre. I always sort of found that way too scary. But that was just supposed to be a concert, and it sort of then turned into being this fully staged behemoth of a concert. I mean, to be honest, I watched. Stephen Schwartz is amazing. Sondheim would be something in there would be amazing. I did audition for Fierro, but didn't get it. So that's the other guy was pretty good, I suppose. No, he's an absolute stone cold hottie, so that's fine.
Awesome. All right, so you're up first, my friend. What's your name? What's your question?
Who do you think is the GOAT, Cristiano Ronaldo or Messi?
What was your name?
Jacob.
Great question. There's a thing, I remember I was speaking to someone when we were doing this. My answer is Messi.
Solid answer.
Yeah, because, what was it someone said? It was a really clean, quippy comment, and he was like, I don't know. The way that Cristiano, you go, wow, yes, okay, he's amazing. It's amazing I did that. But then when Messi scores, particularly in his prime, you're like, I have no idea. I've never seen any player score a goal like that. I've never seen anyone be surrounded by 7 players and come out with all of them tackling each other. And so, I mean, big respect for Cristiano Ronaldo. He's obviously one of the best to ever do it, but it's got to be Messi. Yeah, thanks, Jacob.
Thank you.
I think we just had him. I live in Miami, and I think he was playing for us, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Big time. Yeah. He still is. He still is with Suarez, and I'd love to see Neymar there again. That would rekindle the great three that were at Barcelona. That was one of the best front threes that ever lived. But yeah.
Hey, what's your name?
Hi, my name's Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
And Ted Lasso was full of life lessons. What was the most impactful to you?
Most impactful. Gosh. I think that the sort of, I mean, be curious and not judgmental is just a great lesson. And I've spoken to a few people over this weekend about how the sort of delegation skills of Ted is great leadership skills, and I think that's pretty cool. You know, the way that we see a leader, you know, defer and ask questions and be curious of the people he's working with means that there's a better team, and that's cool. But I guess the main thing is whenever you're doing a scene with Brett Goldstein, get as close to him as you can because he smells so good, I guess.
I don't doubt it. Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks.
Hey.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Susie, and my question is, what is your favorite like behind-the-scenes moment from filming Ted Lasso?
God, well, the whenever we did the dancing, that was really just so silly, and because when we did So Long Farewell, we would do the dance. Basically, the camera was looking at the field, and we were all dancing there. And then, one by one, we'd sort of like 4x4, we'd come off past the camera, and then it turns round, and then it's us in the stands. Total and utter pandemonium every single time we took that shot, because Jason was like, okay, great, more. We do it, and it's like, we're all going like, rah, yeah. And he's like, no, I want to see shirts off, I want to see screaming, I want to see people hanging upside down, I want to see it. And so that was like, you know, you get some of those moments you're like, I cannot believe that we're being paid to do this. This is ridiculous. But really, just shooting the whole Amsterdam episode was also just a highlight of my life. Loved it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Susie.
Hey, what's your name?
Here she is.
Hi, I'm Jen.
Hi, Jen.
So, as a music teacher and as someone who now knows that Phil is a very good singer, it hurt my heart that Jamie Tartt wasn't part of the karaoke episode. So, if he was, what would be Jamie Tartt's karaoke song?
Very good question. It would probably be. You guys probably don't know grime music here, do you? It's like British rap, basically.
Okay.
But one of the he's not a footballer, but one of the people that I modelled Jamie on is a guy called H, and when you get the chance, look at it, like spelt how I say H with an A. He is just dripping in charisma, and so any one of his tracks. Probably Kiki Becky, I think is probably a good one. But yeah, it wouldn't be like a fun one to listen to. He's doing it just for himself. There's no let it go moments here. It's just, yeah. It's just, yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jen.
How about you as yourself? What's your go-to karaoke track?
Mine is Dancing in the Moonlight by Top Loader. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's big go-to for me. Or if I'm feeling a bit fruity, 24 Karat Magic. Which I can't do, but you know, it's fun to try. Yeah, I get very sweaty when I do it. I get very sweaty. Yeah.
Hey, what's your name?
Hello, my name is Chloe. Both my parents said hi. They couldn't be here, but
Hi.
they're obsessed with Ted Lasso. My dad says it's the greatest TV show he's seen in his whole life.
Wow.
My question would be, if you could pick one scene from Ted Lasso to put in a time capsule, what would it be and why?
For as in that I would want to see in the future, or one that I think would be good for other people?
Either or. I would
Okay. I think that the scene with them all around the bonfire, not the bonfire, when they're putting stuff into the trash can. Yeah, that one. I think is a really good. If you haven't seen Ted and you want to understand a bit about what the vibe is, that's probably a good one. The other one, I'd say a scene that I really love doing, which is not like a sort of highlight scene, I suppose, but it's when Jamie meets his mum. Well, when Jamie sees his mum, he doesn't meet her. But when we meet Jamie's mum, I loved doing that. I loved shooting that because it was such a coming home moment for Jamie. Suddenly, to me, even Jamie made sense in that environment, and that was really nice to do. So that was a really special one to do that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dare I ask your name?
Ted here. Real glad to be back in the States here, away from that disgusting hot brown water y'all call tea. Well, I saw that real nice eyebrow slit you had, and I was wondering if I should hop in that saddle and get one too.
Oh my God!
Should Ted Lasso have an eyebrow slit?
I think Ted should have a mustache slit. Just a little one. You're probably not going to see that. Yeah. That's like the collab we've all been waiting for. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Coach. Nice one, Coach.
I don't know how I'm going to top that.
You got an eyebrow slit?
How about two?
Yeah, nice.
My question is, so football is obviously a very physically taxing game, but so aside from the football scenes, what were the most physically taxing scenes to film in the show?
Well, yeah, great question. The one that we had to do loads of times was in season 1 where Jamie and Roy clash. Where he's like, call me old one more time. And we kept like having to like bump heads together. And we for some reason we just kept actually bumping heads.
Oh, really?
Rather than like movie magic, you're like go that close and you stop. We were like every time, to the point where makeup had to come in and like, you know. But it was, yeah, that was a lot. Yeah, I mean, yeah, just the football scenes were. After like a week, because they'd block them, as in they'd put them into blocks,
Right.
and we'd have a week of doing that, and it was the first season we did all of the football in one. Most of the football in that one season, in that 1 week, called Hell Week, where it was pissing it down with rain, and it was freezing cold. Poor us. I know actors have such a hard time of it. But it was minging. It was like, you know, so minging. That's definitely a British term. It was that was rough because, you know, your body is then just so cold, and then you're having to go again. It's like being in the Somme. But yeah, I would say smashing our heads together.
Gotcha. Thank you so much.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, we can clap. I like that.
Yeah, come on.
Hey, what's your name?
My name is Andrew.
Hello.
And I wanted to know what your reaction was when Brett Goldstein got this very cool song and Jamie Tartt was based off of Baby Shark.
I would argue that Baby Shark is definitely more cool than that. Why are you not calling yourself Handrew? Because you're Han Solo. I mean, for God's sake.
Didn't think of it in the moment.
Come on, man.
That was good.
Yeah. Joe Kelly, one of the writers and creators of the show, that was another thing they were really good at, was they were really good, again, this is good leadership, was that they were obviously incredible writers, but they're like, we don't know British culture in the way that we know Robbie Williams and hula hoops, but we don't really know it much, you know. And so they were really good at sort of saying, what would be a good football chant here? And I was like, well, I guess it just has to rhyme, because it's, you know, football fans are pretty basic with that stuff, and so it's just a rhyme, really. Jamie Tartt, Baby Shark. Can you get rights to Baby Shark? It's Apple. I mean, for God's sake, we must be able to. And so it was quite like a in the moment thing. It was just after one of the read-throughs, and yeah, it was mostly off of wordplay. And I don't know how Brett came up with his, but yeah, I mean, it's funny. My brother had kids not so long ago, and it was just around. When Ted came out, he was like, "Dude, I thought Baby Shark was done, and then you start your fucking show. It's all I ever hear." So you're welcome, Stu. Yeah.
Thank you, Phil.
You bet.
No, it is such an earworm. Like, I find
Yeah.
myself just randomly, it pops in my head at the most random times all
Yeah,
the time.
yeah. God, it's so annoying, but again, you know, I think that they did a good job with Ted in terms of like finding those cultural points of cultural significance without ever making it about that. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but those sorts of things are sort of, you know, you can't help but it's good marketing. Just gets in your brain like that. Yeah.
Hey, what's your name?
Hi, my name's Christian, and my question is, how do you reconcile Phil Dunster with Jamie Tartt, and can you talk a little bit about the character development, you know, towards the end of season 3, between, you know, the cake boy to the leader of a football club? Because for me, it was a point where it was like, it's all just a bunch of poop, eh?
Yeah.
So can you talk about that a little bit?
I don't reconcile with Jamie Tartt because he is very good at football and very cool, and I am neither of those things. But he's a sweet boy deep down.
He loves his mother.
He does, yeah. He loves his mummy. In terms of the sort of journey that he goes on, I think there's a couple of... I think Keeley's probably his biggest teacher. Alain de Botton talks about being in a relationship is about... The most important thing is about being the teacher and the taught at various moments, and successful relationships are those ones... There you go. Pointing at your teacher there. Yeah. Good boy. And a successful relationship is knowing when to be which. And I think that Jamie learns to be taught by Keeley. And Keeley's never like, and this is after they've sort of, spoiler, broken up. And I think that's for him, I think is the main, because again, he doesn't like change necessarily the fundamentals of who he is. He just learns to make better decisions. So I think it's around that season 2, episode 8, at the just maybe 9, just after the funeral, we see him take responsibility for the first time in a meaningful way, and I think that's the sort of start of that process. But yeah.
Nice.
Cheers, mate.
Hey, what's your name?
Hi, my name's Brandy. And you just said you don't necessarily reconcile with Jamie, but that show was so transformational for so many people. So I'm just wondering, is there one major theme or idea that you've just taken forward after that experience? For example, in our organization that I work for, so many of our directors have been into this show, which is what kind of led me into it. But just the amazing leadership skills that have been taken from it, and incorporating everybody, how they are and who they are. Like, I'm just wondering, being part of such a fabric of society now, what have you taken from that in your personal life, maybe?
Wow, I mean, I do introduce myself as Phil Dunster, fabric of society now, to be fair.
It's true.
That's very kind, thank you. I don't know. I mean, I suppose I don't really think about it in that regard, and I don't mean that in a dismissive way. I suppose it's a wonderful, wonderful thing to know that it has made that effect. And I said to a couple of people, you know, I've been an actor for 10 years before Jamie Tartt came along, and most of the stuff, nobody really cares about what you do, because that's just the nature of TV. There's so much out there. And so to know that, like, a show that is about football but it's not about football is about, like, kindness, but it's sort of not really about that. It sort of manages to have toes and feet and hands in many different camps, and yet still be dramatically enticing enough to have so many people watch it, is amazing. And in terms of, like, the stories or the messages, I think, I don't know really. I'd say watching it make its way into the general populace and, you know, mindset or whatever, it's not something that they set out to do. I'm speaking for them. I can't, but I don't think it was something that they set out to do. Knowing them, they are just really funny people, great writers who knew how to make something dramatic and comedic. And all of the stuff that goes with that, I think is probably one of the strengths, is not the point of it. And I think that that's why it lands with people, because the moment that people start feeling that they're being hammered over the head with a message, they're just, it's no good. So, they managed to like bury a lot of that stuff in. So, I don't know if that's really answered the question, but.
I'm sorry if I stumped you.
No.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm dumb. Yeah,
No,
I'm sorry.
no.
Thank you.
Hey.
Hi there. My name's Tom. Ted gave Jamie Beautiful and the Damned by F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
If there was a book that you think Ted would have given you, what do you think that'd be?
Wow. Given me. What would he have given you?
I'm not paid to be here.
My plan was foiled. I can tell you a book that really spoke to me a lot is An Emotional Education by Alain de Botton. I think that it came to me at just the right sort of time. It's a really beautiful book that expresses or explains a lot of the human condition in a way that I hadn't sort of seen before. It's got some nude paintings in it as well, which is fun. But I think that I don't know if it was because I needed to see it necessarily, but it was one of those that, you get maybe this show was the show for some people or a book or a painting or something that just hits at that time when you're like, oh my God, feels like it was written just for me. That book is that for me, and God, got there in the end. Thanks, man. Thank you.
Hey.
Go on, you can
If you
bend
want,
it
you can
down.
tilt it down.
You can tilt it down. I love that.
Or jump. That works too.
Thank
You can make it bend to your will. Yeah.
So I would like to let you choose if you would like to have a Debbie Downer question or a more amusing one, because I don't want to bring everyone down.
What would you like to ask?
Help.
What does your gut say?
My gut says make everyone sad, but...
Great, I love it.
Okay.
Buckle up, guys.
So Jamie goes through a lot of trauma, and he faces a lot of trauma. For example, I don't want to spoil things, but having to face his abuser in front of his team is, I imagine, for an actor, absolutely brutal. How did you prepare for that, and what was it like peeling back the layers of that interaction?
Yes, I think that for him it is a kind of death, because for him his social currency is being, or his value is in his social currency, is being the not friend of everybody, but being seen as being above everybody. And so for him, I think there was a sort of sense of him losing himself in that moment. And this sort of phantom figure in his life that we hear about in that moment with the boots going into the rubbish bin. In terms of, as an actor, again, you'd be bored of hearing the cast say this, but because the writing is so good, you just need to, they say get out the way of the text, which is, as if to say, you don't need to put much more on than what is there. You can, galvanize it in some way, but it's really just there. So you can, from everything that your character has said, everything that's been said about you or them, and all of the sort of backstory that you've created, it just lives in that person somewhere, and in the way that we carry our lives with us in some small way. And so when his dad turns up, the shame, or the sort of humiliation it's all been here throughout his whole life, because that sort of very thin line between pride and shame is so here for him all the time. that it just topples over, and it's a death, in front of people. As an actor, for me, what was amazing about that day was that, I mean, you're in a locker room full of smelly boys the whole time, and people are chatting away the whole time. That afternoon, I don't know what happened, but people just seemed to wordlessly just kind of were so supportive and brilliant. And we had those, various times, particularly when Jason had one of his big speeches as Ted. It was magic. It was really special. And so I felt so supported in that room. And also, it was at Wembley Stadium, which, for any football fans, it's like the home of football. And so to do that there, in the changing room there, was just such a special alchemy of many things. So, so it was good. It was nice to do that, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, see, we're not down. People laughed. It's nice.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry.
Hey, what's your name?
My name's Tanya, and I don't really have a question. I just have a statement I wanted to make. To me, Ted Lasso is perfect, and you are part of the reason that it's perfect, and I just wanted to thank you for being a part of it.
Oh, wow. Thank you, mate. That's very kind. Thank you. Wow.
My name's Drew, and I got a question for you. In your own opinion, would you like Keeley to end up with Roy, with Jamie, or neither? Or both. All right. Or both. I will give it.
Let's do show of hands. We'll get there.
Yeah, all
right. Who thinks that? Is it
Keeley or Roy, Keeley or Jamie, or both, or neither? We'll give it
hands
four
up,
four choices.
Hands up for Keeley and Roy. And don't just do this because I'm here. Okay. That's about half.
That's a good 50%.
Yeah. Okay. And how about Jamie and Keeley? There's a hand up here as well. Wow, that is a minority of one. Oh yeah. Oh God.
I think they're all gonna. Are you all gonna say both or neither?
What about Jamie and Roy? And what about Phil and Brett? Yeah, who knows, man? Who knows? Who knows?
What would you like to see, though?
I would like to see everyone happy.
Very nice.
Thank you, man.
All right, we got a few minutes left, so we'll try to get through as many questions as we can. What's your name?
I'm Liza, but I'm here for my mom, Diane. She is the biggest fan of Ted Lasso. It is her favorite show. She has watched the whole thing, and then right at the end, she rewatches it. Like, I cannot tell you how many times she has rewatched it.
She chain Teds. Yeah.
To a crazy degree.
I love that.
So I asked her what to ask you. She first wanted me to tell you that you are her favorite character when it comes to the development and growth, and how beautifully you acted throughout, and how she's heard from the other cast members that they thought you were the most gifted actor in the whole cast. And she wanted me to ask, she heard or read that you have a lot of things coming up, and there are gossips around about season 4, and that because you have so many things coming up, that the hesitation of you not being it has her nervous, and that it wouldn't be the same without you. Have you found out a way to make it work with you returning, or is that something you can't talk about?
Firstly, love you, Diane. Thanks. Thanks so nice things. In terms of season 4, I'll say now, I don't know. I don't know. We know that something's being written. We know that something's probably going to happen. So I don't know what my involvement is. If they said, come and be in it, I would immediately go and do it. All of us would. We all loved being a part of that. In whatever capacity, I'll be in the back of shot for 5 minutes. If they asked that. And so from the get-go, it wasn't, I think there was some stuff online about me being busy and so I couldn't do it. Is not true. I was always available to do it. but machinations of the platform and all that sort of stuff means that life gets in the way, and so who knows? But I think we know that there will be like a bunch of the regulars who will still be in it. But yeah, I hope that I will have some part of it in some small way. Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see.
Also, I forgot, she said you're an amazing singer and she wanted me to compliment you.
Oh, man, why is she not here? God!
She hopes that you sing more in the future and do more with that.
Such a mum thing to say. That's so
Yeah,
nice. Thank
she's
you.
such a mom.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, mate.
Of course,
Thanks so
thank
much.
you.
Cheers.
Yeah. My name is Cameron, and my kind of question is, Jamie and Roy had a little bit of a rivalry going on. Was there a kind of playful rivalry between you and Brett? And any chance you might try to one-up him since he's teased as being Hercules in the MCU?
No, never, not at all. I could never. No, I just love him. There's no. I couldn't even begin to try and one-up him with anything really. It's quite a saccharine answer, but it's quite true. But no, I mean he literally is Hercules. So I don't know how you can beat Hercules, but yeah, no, there's no animosity or anything there.
All right, well, thank you.
Cheers, man.
So I'm Ashley, and I'm a teacher. I have actually Ted Lasso all over my classroom because
Oh.
I'm trying to give that stuff to my students. But
Have you got a Jamie Tartt? Is there a season 1 Jamie Tartt in your class?
no, but it's on my husband's computer in his office.
But I mean, is there a kid who you're so season 1 Jamie Tartt?
You know what? I'm going to start calling him Tart now. I'm going to do it.
That's a yes.
So quick question. There are kids here, so I'm going to, the F word, marry, kill. Who would it be?
In the world or in the cast of Ted Lasso?
Let's do the cast.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I love that you thought about that. I would. First one. Roy.
Okay.
Second one. Sam.
No.
Because he's so sweet. And kill Rupert. Is that obvious? I mean, it's an obvious one, sure. Yeah.
To that one. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That was my question.
And I would marry my fiance. I should say that really. In my own one for the second question. Yeah.
Thank
I wouldn't
you so
kill
much.
her. All right. Cheers.
Hey.
I'm Sarah. I'm asking a question for my daughter.
Hey.
Reese. Too shy.
Hello.
We're wondering, did you have any input into Jamie's costume choices? Because what I really, and in particular, that hat in season 3 going from icon to icog, it was brilliant.
Great question. That icog is Brendan Hunt's idea, who is Beard writer. It's those little touches, which is that makes it. Jackie Levy was the costume designer, and she was so, like in the same way that the writers would begin to write for the actors and the characters and the voice that we had sort of created with them. She did exactly the same thing in that she responded really beautifully to, for example, Trent Krim. Actually, to be fair, I think that was Jimmy quite a lot of the time because he's got such swag. But no, there was a really lovely sort of symbiosis with who the character was becoming, with what they were wearing, and we did try to match Jamie's sort of ostentatiousness with the ludicrous things that he wears. But again, it's a really fun thing with footballers that you've got such a richness of of example of what these footballers actually wear, and they wear some mad stuff. So yeah, it's quite fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Good
Okay.
question.
So we're technically at time, but we have 2 questions left. So are you okay if we?
Happy.
We're gonna rapid fire through these. What's your name?
Emma, I just wanted to know what your favorite moment between Jamie and Roy was out of all the seasons.
It was my favorite one was the Amsterdam scene where when Jamie's teaching Roy to cycle. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say that's silly, wasn't it? Yeah. Thanks, mate. Thanks, Emma.
All right, our final question, and then we're going to take a big group picture with everyone, if that's
Love
okay
it.
with you. Hey, what's your name?
I'm Reese. Hey, how's it going? First, Jamie Tartt, Jamie Tartt, Jamie Tartt, Jamie Tartt. And this is my question: Do you feel that Roy and Jamie, they disagree so much that they're just so similar to each other?
They are cut from a similar jib. They are two sides of the same coin. But I think that we see in season 1, we see a moment when Ted basically asks Roy about what he was like when he first started playing at Sunderland, and Roy was like, yeah, I was a bitch prima donna. And he's like, what do you think of Jamie? And he's like, a bitch prima donna. And he was like, fuck. And so, yes, I think that they, in different ways, but yeah, they definitely had an element of that, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks. I need to try something. I was told this. Who's here from Ohio, by the way? Yeah. Apparently this is a thing. OH? It worked.
Well,
but then, yeah.
on that note, we're all going to take a big group picture, so we're going to bring up our photographer. You guys can come to the stage, just not on the stage, and we'll get you guys set up so everyone can be seen.
Thank you all for coming, by the way, guys. That was lovely. Thank you.